Rahman Rahim. Dear students, today we will learn about some parameters of dissolution studies on how we can solve the dissolution data on a Excel sheet using Microsoft Excel sheet. It have different components. We will start from a calibration curve. For the purpose of calibration curve is that calibration curve is required to estimate the absorbance against specific concentrations. And secondly, calibration curve is also required when we are actually calibrating an instrument. That instrument is actually giving the response as we required, or instrument is giving a response as we increasing the concentration in a same phase as the other parameter, means absorbance is increasing. We will learn actually from UV spectrophotometer. This can also be analyzed on a HPLC based analysis, where we can have area of the concentration which was actually administered, which was used for analysis. So for that we require some data on which we can apply the our pharmacokinetics, our kinetic applications, and also we can apply some formulas to calculate the concentration. Then from that concentration we can calculate its percentage release, and from that percentage release we can fit some kinetic models that will demonstrate that whether the drug release from the system is diffusion dependent, dissolution dependent, a combined dissolution or diffusion dependent, it's a concentration dependent, concentration independent, etc. So we will actually start from the calibration curve. Okay, here is a sheet from which we can take some data. First of all, I can explain from where we have get this data. We actually prepared, if you can see here, we have prepared some concentrations, means some dilutions, by using a fixed dilution method. We prepared a standard solution known as a solution which is a solute to solvent based solution. We dissolved a specific quantity, for example, 1 milligram of the drug or 100 milligram of a drug in a 100 ml of a water or any other solvent in which it is soluble. In this case, we were using paracetamol, which is a water soluble drug. So we weighed 100 milligram of a drug and dissolved in a 100 ml of a solvent to form a solution of 1 milligram per ml, which is known as our stock solution, or which is known as our standard solution. This stock solution was then used to prepare a solvent to solvent working solution, in which we took a specified volume containing a specific concentration into another volume, diluting volume, to form a working solution. From that working solution, we took some specified volume to prepare these fixed concentration of 2 microgram per ml, 4 microgram per ml, 6 microgram per ml, 8 microgram per ml, and 10 microgram per ml. From this, we actually prepared, then we took those dilutions and analyzed on a spectrophotometer at a fixed UV wavelength of 243 nanometer, which is used for paracetamol or acetaminophen analysis. After taking absorbance, following readings were observed. For 2 microgram 0.148, and similarly for 10 microgram 0.557. We used these 5 dilutions to check the instrument's capability, that whether it can give a response that is readable, that is determinable, that can analyze our formulations, or it cannot give such a response. So this will be evaluated when we actually draw a curve. To draw a curve, we will go in insert, and from there insert we will go in charts, and from charts we will insert a scatter chart. Here comes the scatter chart. We can show only the dots which are appearing over here. We can add its axis titles. For axis titles, we check in this axis title. We can also draw a trend line, so we can check in a trend line, and we can also set some options for linear curve. We can set equation and R square value on the chart for a linear curve. Here we have selected a linear curve. So it will give some parameters over here. We'll give a equation, which is equation is equal to y is equal to mx plus b. Y is the y-axis value, m is the slope of the curve, and x is the x-axis concentration, and b is the intercept at which this curve is intercepting on y-axis. So here is the equation: y is equal to 0.0509x plus 0.0505, and R square value. R square is a regression coefficient. So for regression coefficient, if the value is near 1, then this curve is known as calibration curve. The instrument is giving exactly the same response as we were increasing the concentrations. And if this value is not near to 1, it is far from 1, then it means that instrument is not giving the accurate response, or our prepared solutions are not of the higher efficiency concentrations. From this data, we will take these values. For example, we will take B and M value. I have written over here B and M. B for intercept on y-axis and M for slope. From the equation y is equal to mx plus b. So the M value is actually from here. Here we get the regression coefficient value of point. You can find point 999.5, which is very near to 1 value. So this calibration curve can be used for our analysis. Here we have written B and M value. B was the intercept on y-axis, so B value is plus 0.0505. It could be minus also, so we have to write minus against that. It is written in different cells. In one cell, we have written B as a single digit, B as a single alphabet, and M as a single alphabet. And in another cell, under the B, we have written the value of B, and under the M, we have written value of M, because we have to select these cells when we will computing some data from it. So this, we can add titles. For example, its y-axis contains absorbance, and its x-axis contains concentration. So this is a concentration against absorbance curve. Now we are actually performing an experiment of dissolution on our tablets, on our any delivery system. For example, it's a patch, it's a microparticles, it's a nanoparticles, it's a gel, anything. I will give you an example of a tablet, for example. We have prepared a formulation in which we added 250 milligram, in which we added actually 100 milligram drug to prepare a 250 milligram of a formulation. A formulation total containing some excipients have a weight of 250 mg. That contains a drug of 100 mg. So we will add actually this formulation to prepare a tablet, and that tablet will be added to a dissolution media in which it will be performed for 8 hours or 12 hours or 24 hours, or as the total drug release period is, for example, for 72 hours, it will be analyzed in a dissolution media. If we are dissolving it in a stomach media, then we will actually correspond to stomach media dissolution. And if we are for small intestine, large intestine, or any oral cavity, then we will correspond to that media. It can be from 250 ml to 900 ml. So I am using actually for stomach, which is 900 ml. For example, this preparation which is made is a gastroretentive drug release system. For gastroretentive drug release system, we have to retain the delivery system within the gastric environment, meaning in the stomach. So the stomach contains around about 900 ml of dissolution media. So we have used 900 ml of dissolution media. Now, when the tablet is placed in the dissolution media, there will be a theoretical yield of the drug in that media. For example, a whole drug is dissolved within that 900 ml of media, then it will give a concentration to the solution. It will be the maximum concentration, and that maximum concentration will be known as theoretical yield. And whenever we will take some samples from that dissolution media, it will give the concentration at that time period. It will be almost lesser than that maximum theoretical yield. It will be the actual yield of our material. We can actually calculate its percentage release, or we can calculate its percentage by multiplying by 100 when we divide actual yield with the theoretical yield. So on this parameter, we also have to check whether our instrument can assess the concentration which is available in a sample. So firstly, I will tell something about dissolution. In a dissolution, we have a basket or a round bottom flask in which 900 ml of buffer which is used for dissolution. For example, in case of gastroretentive drug system, it is HCl pH 1.2, HCl buffer pH 1.2. So it's 900 ml media is used. So for 900 ml media, we have placed in a round bottom flask, and then we have added a tablet which contain 100 milligram of drug and a total weight of 250 mg. So to calculate its theoretical yield, we will actually have to click on a cell, add a is equal to mark, and then divide the drug with the total weight, because it is a weight in that drug, and then we divide it with the dissolving media. It will give a response which will be the concentration per ml. For example, 1 ml contains this concentration. If we have a tablet that have some size, for example, it is 250 mg, so then it will come back to this type of a concentration. Per ml concentration is this one. This concentration is in terms of milligram. When we have prepared a tablet size which is milligram, a drug which is taken in milligram. Yes, actually we have calculated this concentration. If we are taking an example that we have prepared a tablet which is other than the 250 milligram of solid, if we have blended some ingredients for 250 milligram of tablet, but the punch of the tablet didn't allow 250 milligram of a tablet, so it will be of a different weight. Just for rehearsal, I have calculated some different weights. So for example, a tablet of a size 410 have been compressed. So for this theoretical yield, how we can calculate? We will add a formula in which, again, for adding a formula, we will press is equal to. After pressing is equal to, we have now the tablet size of 410. We will divide it with the originally the size which was the size of the tablet, and then we will multiply it with the drug available in the original size. It will give you the concentration in 410 milligram. The concentration which is now present, actually it was 100 milligram into 50 mg of the tablet, and now it will give a concentration which is present in 410 milligram. This tablet have been added in a 900 ml of the media, so it will be divided by this dilution volume. So the concentration in 900 ml media will be now as we have calculated. It is when it is actually calculated, it gives 0.18200 milligram. If we convert it into a microgram, it will give a concentration. For example, for conversion to microgram, we will multiply it with 1000. So it will give 182 microgram. And if we look in our concentration to absorbance data, if the absorbance of a concentration goes beyond 1 or beyond 1, then according to Beer-Lambert law, this concentration is considered as concentrated solution. And the Beer-Lambert law doesn't applies to a concentrated solution. So our absorbance should be lesser than 1. So for 1, actually it's 10. If 10 is 0.557, maximally 20 microgram will reach 1 or will go beyond 1. So this 182 is beyond 1 concentration. It is beyond the limit that can be assessed according to Beer-Lambert law using a spectrophotometer. So it should be diluted before analysis. So we have a dilution factor which is known as which is 10, for example, 10 times diluted. A sample of 1 ml will be diluted to 10 ml with the same solvent, so that its concentration becomes 10 times lower. So we will divide it with our dilution factor also. This is the dilution factor. So it will give 18.2 microgram per ml, which will be actually, if we dilute all the samples by 10 times, then all samples will have a maximum concentration which is within the range of this Beer-Lambert law concentration value, absorbance value between less than 1. So we have actually calculated this concentration, which is a theoretical yield. The same theoretical yield for a different tablets can be calculated. For example, we have analyzed it, and after analysis we got we have actually analyzed in a dissolution apparatus, and after dissolution we have got some samples at various time intervals. For example, we have samples at 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, and 12 hours. And against those, we have taken the absorbance from the spectrophotometer. And we have got 7 formulations also from F1 to F7. And for those formulations, we got a triplicate of reading, and on an average of triplicate, these readings have been observed under a spectrophotometer when analyzed at 243 lambda max wavelength. And then we have different weights of different formulations. For example, we have used F1 formulation, which was compressed to form 410 milligram of the weight. And F2 was compressed, it gave 387 according to contents, uniformity of contents. This weight was the average weight. For F3, 385, for F4, 370, for F5, it was less. It is, for example, this data is to give you a viewpoint that it can be calculated for maximum tablet weight to a minimum tablet weight. For example, for F5, it was compressed only to 200 mg. Similarly, F6 for 335 and F7 for 375. So the same formula which we use to calculate the theoretical yield of a tablet which has a 100 milligram of a drug. So it was our formulation that contains 100 milligram of a drug, and each formulation contained 100 milligram of a drug with different polymers, with different blends, with different combinations, contains 100 milligram of drug, but the different polymers and blends of polymers. So their weight, average weight was taken, and that tablet, representative tablet, was inserted in a dissolution media from which these samples were taken. So these are the weights of the tablets which are used for dissolution analysis. So we have to calculate the theoretical yield for each formulation. The same formula will be applied to calculate theoretical yield. Just to revise over here, that what we required a weight of the tablet. For example, it is 410. This should be V. We will add a is equal to mark. Then this one, the weight which is prepared for dissolution, and the weight which was actually designed to be prepared, divided by the weight which is designed to be prepared, multiplied by same formula multiplied by the amount of drug which is present in the 250 mg of formula divided by the volume of dissolution, and then again divided by the dilution factor, because each sample will be diluted 10 times, and then it will come in milligram concentration. So you have to convert it into microgram concentration. So we have to multiply it with 1000. This will give you answer, the same answer as the same weight was used as an example over here. So it will give 18.222 value of theoretical yield. This can be calculated for F2, for F3, for F4, for F5, F6, F7 without applying the same formula. It can be dragged from the left down corner to these sides. So it will calculate for all the formulations. But check here, there is no values. So what is the problem? If we click over here and we check what is the reason, it took the same weight which was required, and then it didn't took the same cells which are used for the same analysis, because we dragged it to the right side. So every cell will be shifted to right side. We have to fix some cells so that as these values are written in a fixed cells. So we have to fix these cells so that every time we drag it took the same cell readings. It only changes with this cell which we require to be changed, only change those cells. So for that, C20 is actually need to be changed if it has to be dragged right side. If we have to drag it downwards, then it will to the next one. For downwards, we have to fix it also. For example, for next formulation, we have written it on the right side. So this one should not be confined. If we drag it on the right, it should transfer from C to D to E to F to G formulation. The value N1 is actually the size of the formulation which was designed. So it should be fixed. For fixation, we apply dollar marks before column and before row also. Similarly, for next value, which was the drug amount of drug, it is also fixed and written in a single column. So its column and its cell will be fixed by applying dollar mark. And then we have actually divided it with the dissolution volume of 900, so which is written in N3, it should be fixed. Then we have divided it with the dilution factor, which is P3. So P should be fixed and 3 should also be fixed. Dollar sign before column and before row will give you a fixed reading. So now if we drag this one towards right, it will give the readings. For the next one, it have took D20 only, and the remaining is the same. For this one, it took E20 and the remaining is the same. Similarly, for all the formulations, it changed the cells of 20 row. The columns have been shifted from 20 row because we are dragging right side. So these theoretical yields will be calculated. From this, we can calculate the absorbance, percentage release. For percentage release, actually we have to find the concentration which can be calculated from this formula. In the question, Y is the absorbance, X is the concentration. So if we have these values that were obtained at different time intervals are the absorbance values. From absorbance, if we have to calculate concentration values, then we have to rearrange this equation. For concentration, we have to find X. So X will be equal to Y minus B. Y minus B plus or Y minus B divided by M. So X was actually a multiple of M. So M will be divided. For applying a formula, here in Excel, the Excel will solve multiplication or subtraction first, multiplication or division first, and it will solve subtraction and addition after the multiplication and division formula. So if we didn't apply a bracket, it will not first subtract, it will actually divide first. For B will be divided by M and then subtracted from Y, which will be a wrong value. So for that, we will have to apply a bracket also. So just come here, we will apply a formula for this one. This concentration means we have to find a concentration and also to find a percentage release. So this table will be a comprehensive that will indicate concentration and the concentration, which was the percentage of the drug release. So first of all, we will add n is equal to sign, from which we have to calculate. The formula is Y minus B. Y is the absorbance. So for 0.5, here is 0.5. 0.5 are sample. This one is Y. And then subtraction. And B. Where is B? We have written here B. It's B. It will be enclosed in a bracket. And then we have to divide it with M. Now B and M are present in some specified cells. If we will drag this one from here, can drag it to formulation F7 on the right side and drag it downwards till from 35 to 43 row. Every time it will shift from here G to L and from 3 to 12 or 13, it will be shifted, but B is confined in a single cell. So B should be restricted. So add a $sign before a row and a column also. It will give you concentration here. The answer will be the concentration, but we are actually not only finding a concentration, we are finding its percentage release also. For percentage, this will give concentration means actual yield. For a formula of a percentage yield, we will require that actual yield be divided with the theoretical yield. So to divide it, we will again apply a sign divided by. Where is the theoretical yield? Theoretical yield is calculated and have been written on a table as previously. So we will check it for theoretical yield. This will also be changed whenever we will drag it. So when we drag it towards the right, it will be shifted from here to here and here. So this is required because when we will be analyzing for F2, the dragging is required, means column should not be fixed. But if we are dragging downwards among the rows, it will be shifted to 19 to 20, 20 to 21. So this should be actually fixed. So we will only fix the row 19, not we haven't fixed the column C. It will be shift to column D, column E, column F, column G, column H, and column I when we will drag till I. And this is actually the formula concentration, and now it has been divided with theoretical yield, means actual concentration divided by theoretical concentration. And then it is, as it is a percentage release, so it will be multiplied by 100. This will give you 6.74%, which is being released at 0.5 hours. Now we will actually drag it towards F7. First of all, these should be deleted so you can have a clearer picture. Just for example, I have dragged it till F7. So what is actually happening? We didn't fix the first one, which is the concentration value. So it will be changed according to rows and columns. We didn't fix the column of theoretical yield. So the column here for the third formulation have been shifted to this third column, E column, which was in the first one, which in first one it was the C column, column C, here the column C, And in case of this, it have been shifted to the E column, E19, but the row remained fixed 19. It should be fixed when we are dragging right side. But if we are dragging this one, this whole concentration to the downwards in the rows, then if the row is not static, row will be shifted downward. But we have static row, that is row 19. So every formulation will be calculated for its percentage release. We can prepare a curve of this. We will go in insert. We will insert a chart. For example, it's a line chart. So a line chart can be inserted containing ligands. These ligands are for the formulations, different colored formulations. Here is a percentage release, and over here is the time in hours, which can also be formulated similarly. It can be edited according to chart title. So here we can write the chart title, which is percentage release. And here we can write time, which is in hours. So this is a chart. Here is the today's first part of the dissolution analysis. Those who have interest in kinetic analysis also, they should wait for the second part, which will be uploaded in few days. Jazakallah. Best wishes for you. Allah Hafiz. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I am Dr. Talib Hussain. Today we will learn the second part of dissolution analysis based on the Microsoft Excel sheet and applying the kinetics based on DD solver. Add-in software which is used to help kinetics. It means kinetics of zero order, first order, Higuchi, Schwarzschild-Papas, Higson-Crowell, with T-lags, without T-lags. Today we will actually discuss without T-lags. So first of all, we will actually take a review on which we last time used some concentrations to develop a standard curve. Standard curve or a calibration curve was drawn to actually calibrate an instrument and also to find what our instrument give a response when we analyze a specified concentration on it. For that, we prepared specific concentrations from 2 microgram per ml to 10 microgram per ml, at least 5 concentrations. And we analyzed at 243 for paracetamol. And the subsequent absorptions were drawn in a curve using insert menu. And our trend line was applied on the curve, which gave R square value and an equation. That equation was used to calculate the concentration of the absorbance obtained from the samples, and from that absorbance we calculated percentage drug release, and from that percentage drug release we can prepare a chart that will having a axis also labeled, axis of y-axis labeled and x-axis labeled. Today we will start from applying some different kinetics. For that, we will require a add-in program, which is DD solver. It can be downloaded. It is a freeware, can be downloaded. I will share a link with the description also. You can download it and can run when on a sheet where you can apply it. Every time when will you require to apply a DD solver, you have to run it on that sheet again. It will be closed when the sheet will be closed. And it will come when you will add it, when you will enable macros for that DD solver, it will come in a tab of add-ins over the Microsoft Excel. In the add-in, if you click on the add-ins, you will find a dedicated tab known as DD solver. If you click the DD solver, you will find that you can use it to analyze different parameters. For example, there is a standard curve analysis that we actually performed already. if we click on a standard curve evaluation, it will ask that you input data on x-axis, on y-axis. So for x-axis data, this is the area where you can put the data for x-axis, and for the y, the second one is a y. And the variable name of variables which you have given, actually for an HPLC analysis, you have given concentration in microgram per ml and variable y for peak area. Here we actually performed UV spectrophotometer analysis. So it is not an area, it is absorbance. So we can write here the absorbance, and concentration was microgram per ml. So for data, you will have to click here and select the data from where to where you have to plot x-axis. This is the x-axis data. For example, we have to plot 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So we have selected from 2 to 8, dragged it to 8. This will be x data. And then for y data, we have selected from this point 148 to 0.557. This is y data. So if we run it, it will be solved in a second tab in a new sheet. So in a new sheet, you can find an equation and R square. R square value which is obtained is in row 18. R square adjusted. Proper R square is the R square, normal R square and R square adjusted. The adjusted R square is according to the data, which is perfect one adjusted. It is 0.99326. If we see that our R square was 0.995, it is exactly the R square which is in column in row 17. It also have an equation which is y is equal to intercept plus slope x, means slope is m, mx plus intercept is b. So this is a equation which is given in the form of intercept. Intercept is given as 0.0505. Slope is given at 0.05085. So which is the same 0.0505 here written, and 0.0509 or 85. It is written over here that we self-perform by adding a trend line and clicking on the R square value and equation on the chart. So this can also be performed by adding DD solver. So this one analysis was for standard curve analysis, but our main focus is to perform dissolution data modeling. For example, we have to apply some models for the dissolution analysis. So for dissolution analysis, we will have to go dissolution data modeling. We will click dissolution data modeling. Here a model library will appear, which have a library of zero order, first order, Higuchi, Korsmeyer-Papas, Higson-Crowell, similarly Hopfenberg, Baker, Lonsdale. These are different models that can be applied. Even Weibull can be applied. There is a multiple library. The basics that we actually use is zero order, first order, Korsmeyer-Papas, and Higuchi models. So I will apply these 4 basic models. First of all, click on zero order. Click next and add the data. Input, it requires a time value with a time unit, and F value, which is percentage of drug release. For time, we have time in hours. So we will select here the unit, which is hour, and time. For time, we will select the column, input column, which is time. So we select from here to here, from 0.5 to 12 hour window selected as a time. And for the percentage drug release, we have selected for F1, similarly for F2, for F3, F4, F5, F6, F7 can also be analyzed in the same model. So we will press then run. It will again come in a newer window that will give zero order, after applying zero order kinetics, the following sheet will appear. It will have all the analysis. The required one is actually the K value, which is the slope value. So we have to copy this K value for all the formulations. We will copy it and we will paste over here. This is for zero order. It will be pasted along the side. It can be pasted transpose. For example, it will be pasted downwards. So as we have actually written the formulation F1, F2, F3 in the columns, so this one is pasted along the columns. For F1, this, for example, if we copy this one over here, it will give the same description. For F1, the case constant value is 0.9. This value is, slope value is actually used that whether it's in positive or it is in negative. If it is in a negative, the analysis is not suitable for the concentrations which are used for analysis. And if it is positive, then we can use it. Secondly, the required value is R square. We have to copy this R square value because we will use this R square for model evaluation. For example, whether the model is whether this concentration is following the model applied. It will be given by regression value as we applied regression on the calibration curve. The calibration curve was suitable or it was fit for analysis when R square value was near to 1. So similar criteria will be applied to sample values also. This is the analysis of the samples. So R square will be pasted over here. Thirdly, we require some more parameters. There are two parameters which can be used for model evaluation also. So for model evaluation, we can use AIC and MSC. MSC stands for model selection criteria and AIC for Akaike coefficient. Akaike information coefficient. So Akaike information coefficient and MSC can be used to further select a model. A model can be selected on the basis of R square value and AIC value and MSC values. Any two parameters which are in best fit to the model and can be selected for this model. If the R square value is near to 1, AIC value is between 50 or lesser than 50, and MSC value is 4 or more than 4, even 3 or more than 3, you can say, but specifically 4 or more than 4 value. It will give you the best parameters which are used to fit a model. For example, a zero order model, first order model, Higuchi, and Postman-Pass model. So we will copy this AIC value and this MSC value for this model and we'll paste it over here. This is the zero order analysis. And then we will do similarly another time. We will go to dissolution data modeling and we will do the same analysis for first order. We will give time values which are on x-axis. We will give fraction value from here to here. We will select the time units as hours, and then we will press enter. Another sheet will be appeared and it will give us the first order analysis. It can be labeled as such. So in this analysis, we again got a constant which can be added. So this is added over here. And again, the three parameters, the value of R square, and the values of AIC and MSC. This is for first order. And now again, we will apply dissolution data modeling and Higuchi model. We will select Higuchi and press enter. Similarly, once again, for time values from 0.5 to 12, for fraction value from this F1 till F7, for time units, it's R, and then we will run it again. And here we will write it Higuchi. Similarly, for Higuchi, we will copy this K value for 7 formulations. We will paste here. We will copy its R square values. And then we will copy its AIC and MSC values. Now we will apply Korsmeyer-Papas model. Korsmeyer-Papas model will evaluate the dissolution and diffusion dependency if they are dependent on the both of the mechanism, dissolution dependent and also a diffusion dependent, a combined dissolutional and diffusional model. It will be given by Korsmeyer-Papas model. A diffusion model can be best explained by zero order and Higuchi model. A dissolutional model can be best explained by, similarly, Higuchi can explain it, or very specifically first order and Higson-Crowell can explain it. If we apply Korsmeyer-Papas, it will appear again on another sheet. We can rename it as Korsmeyer-Papas. Again, we will copy the same data, which is the constant. The R square. Similarly, AIC and MSC values. Here is another parameter known as N value. N value is actually used to calculate the mechanism of drug release. If you can find the equation of Korsmeyer-Papas, here is a N which is on a superscript N. So if we find N, it will give you the geometry of the system. It according to Higuchi, which is a geometry of the system. Geometry can be defined. And for Korsmeyer-Papas, it will give you the four mechanism of drug release. If the N value is between 0.5 for a tablet, for a cylindrical system, if the N value is between 0.45 to 0.89, and for sphere, if it is between 0.5 to between 0.43 to 0.85, and if it is for slab, for a transdermal system, for a patch, for a slab, it is 0.5 to 1 value. So as it was a tablet, so we will evaluate it on the basis of 0.45 to 0.89. 0.45 to 89 will give you the combined dissolution and dissolution model, which is also known as a hydrogel, or it is a the system known as non-Fickian system, which is deviating a normal fixed law of diffusion, a normal Fickian diffusion, and it can also be known as anomalous system. So for the system that correspond to anomalous should have value between 0.45 to 0.89, and if the value is lesser than 0.45, it will be pure Fickian system, which is dependent on fixed law of diffusion and also depending on concentration. The diffusion is depending upon concentration of drug being solubilized. It is a fixed law. And if the system is deviating this fixed law, then it will be defining that whether the diffusion is not totally dependent on the dissolved concentration, or dissolved concentration is not sufficient for the diffusion, or for dissolved concentration is more than the diffusion. So this is a mechanism which is not following a Fickian diffusion. It will be known as anomalous, it will be known as non-Fickian, it will be known as combined dissolution and diffusion mechanism. And the dissolution mechanism is purely dissolution mechanism is defined by Fickian's law, because diffusion is dependent on dissolution. And if the drug is purely diffusing, it is not depending on dissolution. The drug is dissolved or not dissolved, its release is dependent only the pore size which is developed, and this rate of dissolution is always greater than the rate of diffusion in that way, or diffusion is actually the rate controlling mechanism. Then it will be known as case 2 system, and its value will be 0.89, 0.85, 1 for the 3 systems. And if the value is beyond this 0.89, 0.85 or 1 value, then it will be known as super case 2, means there is another mechanism which is beyond the diffusion and dissolution mechanisms. There is stirring, there is a temperature, something other than these also present for the system, then it will be super case 2, very retarded drug release system. Okay, after applying these 4 models, we will select which model is this formulation is the release of this formulation is dependent on which model. Zero order defines that it is concentration independent system. First order defines that it is concentration dependent system. Higuchi defines that a drug, the system is dependent upon, independent of concentration, but dependent on a time, but a factor of a time, which is square root of a time. So it is the concentration, released concentration is directly proportional to square root of the time, which is independent of concentration again. And then Korsmer pass is dependent, the release of drug, if it is compared to the total drug in the system, then it is directly proportional to time raised to power n value which is defining mechanism of drug release. As I previously explained that these are 3 parameters which are used to select a model. Any 2 parameters suitable for a formulation will give you the selection for that system. For example, first of all, for zero order, if we see R square value 0.90, which is almost 10% lesser than the actual 1 value. So it cannot be considered. The actual in concentration is 5% value. So if the value is 0.95 or more than 95, it will be selected as it is actually following a system. But it can be counter checked by AIC value and MSC values. For R square values, if you can see, there is no value which is more than 0.95 except for formulation F5, F6. These 2 formulations have R square value which is greater than 0.95. The best value which should be 0.99. If it is 99, then it is purely following the model. And if it is lesser than 0.99 but near to more than 0.95, then it can also be added to that system. And depending on AIC, I have told you if the AIC is 50 or lesser than 50, then this model is selected. Here you can see for these 2 formulations, AIC value is lesser than 50. And for MSC value, the MSC value should be 4 or greater than 4 for a system. Even it can be assessed between 3 or more than 3 values. So here more than 3 values. So these 2 formulations, we can say that it is following zero order model. But we will actually evaluate these, whether these are, it is correct or this statement is correct or it's wrong. For first order model, we can see that first formulation gave 0.97, second is 0.98, third is 0.98, fourth is 0.98, fifth one is 0.95, sixth is not following 0.89, and seventh is also 0.98. So these 6 formulations are almost following first order kinetics depending on regression coefficient. Now we can see AIC. AIC of this is beyond 50, so it will not be selected. This is lesser than 50. This one is lesser than 50. This one is lesser than 50. And this one is lesser than 50. So these 4 formulations on the basis of AIC are also selected. And then we can see MSC. Here you can see this is more than 3. If we go to more than 3.5, near to 4, then this one is more than 3.5, this one is more than 3.5, and this one is more than 3.5. So this MSC value can be selected for the model selection. Check the model for Higuchi model. For Higuchi model, if we can see F1 is giving 0.94 R-square value, F2 is giving 0.98 value, F3 0.96. Similarly, no other formulation is giving more than 0.95 value. So we select these 2 formulations which are dependent on Higuchi model. For AIC, if we can see this F2 formulation have lesser than 50 value, and none of the other formulation has lesser than 50 value. So this can be selected for the Higuchi model dependency. For MSC value, similarly F2 formulation has MSC value of greater than 4, and no other formulation is having a value which is greater than 4.5. So 3.5. So this can be selected for model selection. If for Korsmeyer-Papas model, we see the R-square values for first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. All are between 0.95 to 1 value. So all formulations have been are following on the basis of R-square value. For AIC, again you can see from F1 to F6, all the formulations are following AIC values. So this can also be selected. For MSC values, these first 6 formulations have MSC which is greater than 4 value. So by comparing all of the formulations, we will select a single model in which a best fit parameters are obtained. For example, a best fit parameters, we have checked for best fit for parameters on 3 bases: on R-square basis, on AIC basis, and MSC values. For if we can check formulation F1, starting from the first formulation, F1 formulation, no other model is selected on the basis of at least 2 parameters. For example, R-square, AIC, or MSC. From these, any 2 model, no other form is selected. Only the Korsmeyer-Papas is being selected. So it is following a Korsmeyer-Papas, or it is a hydrogel. Secondly, for F2 formulations, the K1 value, the Higuchi model, and the Korsmeyer-Papas model is actually feasible. So we will find among these 3 models which one is most suitable. For R-square value, 0.98 is for first order, 0.9871 is for Higuchi. Better one is for Higuchi. And for 0.9887, the most better one is for Korsmeyer-Papas. So in case of R-square, Korsmeyer-Papas is superior than all the models. Then if we can see AIC, 44 AIC for first order, 41 AIC for Higuchi, and 42 AIC, means 41 AIC for Higuchi is best for the model. So on one parameter, we have selected Coursemire-Papas, and on one parameter, we have selected Higuchi model. And then we come to AIC, MSC. The MSC value of 4.1 for Higuchi, 3.78 for first order. So this one is not better, 3.78. 4.1 is better one from 3.7. 4.0 is also not better from 4.13. So on a second way, we have selected on the basis of MSC, the Higuchi model among these. So F2 formulation is following a Higuchi model. What does the first one means and what does the second one means? The interpretation of the first is that it is dependent on a combined dissolution and diffusion model, which is a hydrogel based system. And for F2, it is independent of concentration. The drug release is independent of concentration, but depending upon square root of a time. So a system is not a dissolution system. A system is diffusion system. In dissolution is not a point which is defining point. It is dependent on diffusion. The rate limiting step is diffusion. So the drug is diffusing from the system. As it is also dependent on Coursemire, so it can be defined on these two systems. For F3, zero order is not applicable. First order is applicable. Higuchi is not applicable, and Coursemire-Papas is applicable. From these first order and Coursemire-Papas, you can clearly see that Coursemire-Papas is more applicable to this. Its first order is also applicable and also Coursemire-Papas. So how we can define it? That it's some bit of concentration dependence. Concentration dependent means some bit of dissolution controlled release. And in this case, we have actually selected that it is also a combined dissolution and diffusion or hydrogel based model. The N value will determine whether it's a combined system, it is a lone dissolution control system, it is a lone diffusion control system, or it is the retarded diffusion control system. Similarly, for F4, no other formulation, no other model except for KP model is suitable. And if we can see, this one is also suitable, 3.7 value. First order and Coursemire-Papas is suitable. So from this, better one is also Coursemire-Papas. For F5, zero order model is suitable, and then Coursemire-Papas is suitable. More suitable from this is Coursemire-Papas. Zero order will define that it is concentration independent system. It is for Coursemire-Papas, it will define that it is a hydrogel based system. For F6, zero order is it is following zero order, and it is also following a Coursemire-Papas. It also means that it is concentration independent or diffusion dependent system, and it is a hydrogel on the basis of Coursemire-Papas model. For F7, you can see only K1, for example, first order model is suitable. So, and neither Coursemire-Papas nor Higuchi and nor RSK, the zero order model is suitable. So it is purely a concentration dependent system, which is not a hydrogel, purely not a hydrogel, could be a hydrogel. It could be hydrogel. Now on the basis of the selection, we can define a system based on N value, N which is release coefficient value. So for N value, we will find that these were actually a cylinder system, cylindrical system. N value, if we calculate on the average basis, we will find on average 0.5 value, 1 value, beyond 1 value. Understandable? Lesser than 0.5 value, we will call it a Fickian system, which is dissolution dependent system. Dissolution is a rate limiting step. And for 1 value, we will define it a diffusion system. Diffusion is a rate limiting step. For a value between 0.5 to 1, we will define it a combined dissolution and diffusion model, in which both dissolution and diffusion are rate limiting steps. And for the values beyond 1, we will define them super case 2 system, which are depending upon a diffusion, but there is a further cut on a diffusion. These are retarded diffusion systems. Here we can evaluate, the first one was following KP model. Its value is 0.67. So it is an anomalous system. The first one, F1, is anomalous hydrogel system. It is following a combined dissolution and diffusion system because its value is greater than 0.5 and lesser than 1. So it is a anomalous system which is combined dissolution and diffusion. There is both the mechanism, dissolution and diffusion. First, the drug have to dissolve. Until unless it is not dissolved, it will not be diffused out of the system. And once it is dissolved, it will not come out of the system again. It will depend on diffusion also. If the diffusion is retarded, then whole of the concentration will not be out of the system. But the maximum concentration which can be diffused can be released from the system. So it is a sustained release. We call it as a sustained release system. Then for the F2 formulation, which was dependent on Higuchi model and the Korsman-Papas model, it is a purely diffusional, defining that it is purely diffusional system. But the dependence on first order model, it also describe a concentration dependent, means a dissolution system also. So as both systems were following a concentration dependent dissolution control system, a diffusion dependent Higuchi control system, so it will be at a marginal step of either being classified into a diffusional system or into a dissolutional system, into a Fickian system or a anomalous system. It is on the verge point. So we can call it that it is dependent on both, but superior one is dissolution mechanism, which is required to be dissolved and then the drug is being diffusing. So dissolution is a dominant mechanism among the both mechanism, dissolution and diffusion mechanism. For F3, if we can say, for F3, it is following first order model and Korsman-Papas model, and 0.062 value gives it an anomalous system, means it is dependent on both diffusion and dissolution. So dissolution was K1 and diffusion was zero order or Higuchi model. The non-dependency means the better one is dissolution model. For F4, the value is 0.718 and it is concentration dissolution first, and first is a dissolution as a rate limiting step and then diffusion is a rate limiting step after drug is being dissolved. So it is also a anomalous system, anomalous drug release or combined dissolution and diffusion system. Coming to the F5, F5 is dependent on zero order, means it is a concentration independent and diffusion system. And this value is very near to 1 value. So it will define that it is a diffusion system, predominantly diffusion system. Whether drug is dissolved or not dissolved, the drug release will be only and only dependent on diffusion of the system. It is under the combined dissolution diffusion window, but near to the diffusion mechanism. So diffusion is a dominant than dissolution kinetics. For F6, again zero order following and the follow of the Higuchi and the Korsman-Papas, but the value beyond 1. Beyond 1 gives that it is purely a diffusion system, and diffusion is also influenced by some geometry, some characteristics, tortuosity of the polymer, some porosity of the polymer, some kind of swelling criteria of the polymer. So these are also included in the dissolution of the drug, and the drug dissolution is retarded as the tortuosity, change of tortuosity is retarded. So this one is classified as super case2 system. The last one is dependent only on first order kinetics. So it is dissolution kinetics. As it is not following Korsman-Papas, we cannot apply n value. We can define it from this model, which is K1 first order model. First order model defines that it is a concentration dependent system. Higher the concentration being dissolved, higher will be its diffusion, and lesser the concentration will be dissolved, lesser will be its diffusion. So it is a purely diffusion dependent system. Dissolution dependent system cannot be classified under a hydrogel system. I think you have got what I want to tell you or what I want to explain you. You need to actually do some rehearsals maximum times so that you can find similar results. Jazakallah. Thank you. Inshallah, we will meet with some newer videos. Allah Hafiz.